What's up, everybody? It's Scott, and you're watching Exploring Attractions. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing down below with those bell notifications on, and make sure to check out all of our social media down below. And as always, if you enjoy the video, please leave us a like at the end because it helps out the channel a whole lot. In today's exciting video, we have another Universal Epics Universe construction update provided by BioReconstruct. Our last update of analyzing the different construction shots was 10 days ago, so if you want to check out the progress since then make sure to go check that video out, link in bio. We also will be talking about Super Nintendo World today in this update, as Super Nintendo World is currently being constructed at Epic Universe, Universal Orlando's brand new theme park, and we also checked out Super Nintendo World here in Hollywood, so you can go ahead and check that out as well. But enough of the ranting, let's get into another Universal's Epic Universe construction update. Some big coaster news is coming out of today's update, so why not start off with that? Over at the Universal Classic Monsters Land, more track has been installed for the spinning Mack ride that's rumored to be themed to the Wolfman. That's right, way more track has been installed on the rumored Wolfman themed roller coaster set to be placed in the Universal Monsters Land. And honestly, there is so much track being placed right now, so many footers being set in place. On our previous updates, we only saw one little, what looks to be a launch section or maybe even a brake run, and actually in that one straight piece of track, you can see they're building some form of overhang above it, whether that be an indoor scene that you see some projections of the Wolfman or something similar to like that. But it does look like it's going to be one of the key moments throughout this roller coaster. As we can see, there are multiple bank turns that have been placed, and then even a bunny hop hill. Of course, we get a great look at the station, and they definitely covered up the station a whole lot, and right behind it will most likely sit the maintenance bay for this roller coaster. But yeah, this coaster itself isn't going to be that large of a ride. It will be a spinning coaster, and that's what all the rumors are pointing to right now, and that's honestly what it looks like it's going to be. But yeah, it doesn't look like the actual scale of the coaster will be very large, which is fine because those spinning roller coasters are pretty intense. So I don't think that we're going to be seeing tons more track installed as off-site or actually on-site on the parking lot. There's a couple more pieces of track located there. Doesn't look like it's a lot. Now, of course, they could be bringing in more to add to this attraction, but as of right now and as of where the footers are placed and everything, I think that this coaster won't be very large in scale and won't have a long duration. To the left of this coaster, you can see some bit of detailing is slowly starting to go into the Windmill Restaurant, and no, I don't mean that giant steel bar that we've been talking about multiple updates. I mean, there looks to be a little bit of red on the left hand side of it. That could be early stages of detail for that Windmill Restaurant. You can kind of get a great idea looking at this shot of the different track switches, if you will, of it turning into the maintenance bay and then it turning into the actual coaster. It's kind of cool to see that. So presumably from this angle, it looks like it'll be the start of the, actually no, it looks like it will be the end of the attraction. Very curious to see how much of a queue this attraction will hold because it doesn't look like that queue will be very large. I'm thinking that it'll probably be all outdoors, which of course is a lot of fun in the Florida weather. More work continues on the surrounding village leading up to the main e-ticket attraction in Universal Monsters Land, and of course on that entry portal it looks like it's starting to receive a little bit more detail for Universal Monsters. That leads us all the way up to the main attraction, which we don't know what it's going to be quite yet. The facade looks like it's taking more and more shape, and like I've said many times, I think detail will start very, very soon, especially on the Universal Monsters attraction facade. And I just cannot wait for this sightline because honestly this will probably be one of the best sightlines in the entire Universal Orlando Resort. But we now move into How to Train Your Dragon. Last week we reported that the theater attraction is finally starting to take shape, and you can see that more and more of the seating is starting to be constructed, and then of course the stage being right in front of it. No big progress has been made since that update though. So we move into the rest of the land where you can actually see something that honestly my favorite YouTuber who does Epic Universe updates, Alicia Stella, pointed out on Twitter, which I think was a really neat catch, and of course none of this would be possible without BioReconstruct's photos. But yeah, all I gotta say is nice catch, Alicia. Other than that, it doesn't look like there's been tons of progress made with the How to Train Your Dragon land. Looks like it's been kind of at a halt for the past 10 days, so let's move into the Wizarding World. And the Wizarding World is starting to receive tons of detail already. We reported in last week's update that you can start to see some of those rooftops start to take shape, and those kind of look like the ones that were test dummies, if you will. Now you can see that there's tons of different boom lifts working on these surrounding buildings, or at least the facade to the Ministry of Magic. You can see all the different windows, you can see the rooftop shapes, and this is getting really exciting because, like I've been teasing for every single update, detail is coming, and honestly, you can see detail start to form with the Wizarding World. And if you really zoom in closely, you can start to see different entrances and exits for the Ministry of Magic attraction. Now here's a better shot to kind of get an idea of exactly how the entire land is going to be laid out. So to the left side, I believe, will be the entry portal to the land, and then everything else surrounding is going to kind of immerse you, similar to what Diagon Alley does, where it really immerses you. And then if you walk a little bit further in, you'll get to the main entrance of the main attraction, which is rumored to be themed to Ministry of Magic. The rest of the stuff is all surrounding buildings that will hold restaurants, shops, and all other nooks and crannies that we don't know about quite yet. But to see the development of this land start to progress, it's very exciting to me because there's been tons of stuff that's been like kind of a question. What's going to go where? What, all we knew that there's that one massive building, but now it's starting to shape up a little bit more to where we can kind of pick stuff out and know exactly what it is. And they're just getting started on the detail for this land. You can start to see a lot more going on, like I said, on those surrounding city buildings and the different restaurants and shops. But now it is exciting that we can get a more definitive look at exactly how this land is going to be laid out, and you can see from this shot just how large that attraction is going to be, the Ministry of Magic. It's going to be probably the most massive attraction that is on ground at Epic Universe, just judging based on the building. And I've definitely driven past it before, and I can say it looks even bigger in person from far away. No new updates on the M-Park Hotel, unfortunately. I talk about it every week. I really want to see updates on the hotel because you'd think that they'd start to get that up very fast. But of course, the offsite hotel is making progress here and there. They threw that one up very fast, so I have no doubt that they'll be able to throw up the M-Park one pretty quick too. Alright y'all, but speaking of more coasters, of course we can't leave out the Dual Racing roller coaster, which hasn't had any new track installed. However, there have been a lot more supports added. Those supports are slowly but surely starting to be placed on those different footers, and I could expect that we see track placed on them very soon. But right now, it kind of looks similar to last week's update with the different supports and the different track work going on for the Dual Racing roller coaster. Nothing new quite yet, other than something that I will say is it looks like they're nearly complete putting all the different supports in those. We move on to our last land where you can see the entry portal to the future Super Nintendo World, and right behind it you can see what looks to be a strange looking building. Now there is some shape to it. Could this be a restaurant? Could this be a shop? Could this be just a generic Epic Universe shop, or will it be themed to Super Nintendo World? I'd assume it'd just be a generic Epic Universe shop, since they will have a shop inside of Super Nintendo World. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, we were able to check out Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios Hollywood on past member previews. It was a little bit of a rough day just because of how crowded it was, and we didn't get to do everything that we would have liked. However, we will be back later this week, and of course out for the grand opening media event, which I'm pretty excited about. They're actually shaping the green warp pipe right now. It looks to be copper. Like, am I wrong right there? That kind of gold material. There's construction workers. I could be 100% wrong, but that's just what it looks like to me. I don't know. One of you construction workers correct me in the comments, because I feel like I definitely got that wrong. Now, whether it be the maintenance bay or just something else for the Yoshi attraction, it looks like it's been painted like kind of a dark grayish color. And then, of course, you can see those mountains starting to form right behind it. Still curious as to see why they haven't closed off the indoor section of the Yoshi attraction, but I'm assuming that's not their number one priority right now. Getting all the structural work done right now. You obviously have the transition right underneath the Yoshi Omni Mover into the Donkey Kong expansion, or it won't be an expansion for Epic Universe, it'll just be a part of the land once it opens up. Now, judging based on this, if you can kind of follow the entry portal in the green warp pipe, it looks like you're going to enter at a bottom level, and then you'll have the option to walk up to the Princess Peach's castle, just because I don't see how, unless you were to take stairs through the green warp pipe, which would be kind of pointless in my opinion. I think you're going to enter in ground level and then walk up. Or I could be completely wrong here. It could be still theming to Princess Peach's castle at the bottom of it, and then just there's an upper level to it too. I'm not too sure. I guess we'll get a more definitive answer if we start to see stairs after that green warp pipe. You can kind of make out where the entrance to Toadstool Cafe is going to be at, right underneath the Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge attraction. And then we have a really clear look at the Donkey Kong Mine Coaster. You can see where the lift hill is going to be at, and it kind of banks in to an indoor section of the ride. Now, this is something new. A lot of it is covered compared to when we talked about Donkey Kong last, which was like 3 updates ago. Nothing was covered. Now it looks like portions of the attractions are covered, which is pretty exciting because that means that we could start to see different structures go in there, kind of make out what they are, whether they be Donkey Kong animatronics, whether they be little like Diddy Kong statues, stuff like that. Now, one thing that BioReconstruct actually pointed out is there's a block breaker right after the lift hill, which is kind of interesting. But then right after that, they go right into a dipped bank turn. So I'm not too sure about the layout. It looks like it's going to go all the way throughout that building and then maybe back out to right underneath the start of the lift hill. That's kind of just the vibe that I'm getting right now. I don't know. I'm sure there's blueprints floating around somewhere exactly laying out this entire coaster. But just right now, looking at this photo, that's exactly what it looks like to me. But I'm pretty excited that we're starting to see more of the track get covered, as that means more details coming for the Donkey Kong roller coaster. And you know, lots of stuff is going on in Epic Universe, but I feel like their main target right now are the coasters. Obviously, we've seen it with the Wolfman coaster, we saw it before that with the Dual Racing roller coaster, and now with the Donkey Kong coaster, they're doing a lot more work on it. So I feel like in the coming weeks, we'll start to see way more work on potentially the How to Train Your Dragon coaster, as it seems like that's the one that has gotten the least amount of progress on. But that, of course, is because there's going to be so many different elements that'll bring that attraction to life. But I want to know down below in the comments section what excites you the most from this construction update, and if there's anything that I missed that you guys may have noticed, let us know down below. But as for today's video, that's going to do it for our Epic Universe construction update. Huge shout out to BioReconstruct as always, and all the other people that I shouted out in this video. My name is Scott, and if you're new here, consider subscribing down below with those bell notifications on, and leave this video a like if you enjoyed it. Positivity is key, and most importantly, remember to keep exploring. Peace out, everybody.